Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So good morning students. Today I am going to teach lumped flow routing. So in the previous class I taught you flood hydrograph, then unit hydrograph. So next most important topic is lumped flow routing. So these are important definitions. Flood routing. Okay. So what is flood routing? Given an upstream flood hydrograph, then we need to determine discharge magnitude at a given time and get a given spatial location along the water course. So what does this mean? We know in a catchment area, river is flowing through. So at a certain section, let us say that is section 1, there we know the hydrograph. Then downstream of section 1, that is around let us say some 10 kilometers downstream of that, we need to know how this flood hydrograph changes. So determining the flood hydrograph at a downstream location given an upstream flood hydrograph is called flood routing. So flood routing are two types: lumped system routing and distributed system routing. So in lumped system routing, given an upstream flood hydrograph, we will determine downstream flood hydrograph at a particular location. Okay. So we don't worry at intermediate locations. Suppose there is a reservoir. Okay, so river broadens, because it is obstructed by a dam. So what happens, that area is being flooded with water and slowly it fills up, and once it reaches the crest level of the spillway, then the water flows downstream. So the water enters into the reservoir, let us say that is inlet point. So at inlet point we know the flood hydrograph. Now we need to determine the flood hydrograph just downstream of the dam. So this is a called reservoir routing, and this is also called lumped system routing, because we are considering the inlet hydrograph, then we are determining the outflow hydrograph, that is just downstream of the dam, and we are not worried about the intermediate locations, that is along that reservoir. So this is called as a lumped system routing. So next type of routing is distributed system routing. In distributed system routing, given an upstream flood hydrograph, we will determine flood hydrograph at any downstream location. Okay, so you know what is a flood hydrograph. So flood hydrograph is a plot between discharge versus time. Okay, and so already the time is incorporated, so time is included. Now we are finding the hydrograph at any downstream location. Okay, not at a particular location, but at any downstream location. This is called as distributed system routing. So again, flood routing, it is two types. Okay, lumped system routing and distributed system routing. So this lumped system routing, it is also called as hydrologic routing, and distributed system routing is called as hydraulic routing. So what is the difference between these hydrologic routing and hydraulic routing mathematically? In hydrologic routing, we use only continuity equation. That is lumped system routing. We use only the continuity equation. But whereas in hydraulic routing, we use continuity equation and as well as momentum equation. So hydraulic routing is more you can complicated and more accurate, but it is an advanced topic, so we will not be covering hydraulic routing in this class. So I am teaching only hydraulic routing in this class. So hydrologic routing, again, it is two types. One is reservoir routing and next one is channel routing. So reservoir routing means, in reservoir routing, the flow river joining reservoir, and once reservoir is filled, the water flows over spillway and flows downstream. So by knowing the hydrograph at the inlet, we will find the hydrograph just downstream of the reservoir or on the crest of the spillway. So this is called as reservoir routing. But in the channel routing, it is a river. Okay, so we know one upstream location and one downstream location. The distance can be anything. Okay, maybe 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 50 kilometers. So we know the inlet hydrograph, that is at hydrograph at section 1. Then we will determine the hydrograph at section 2. So that is called as channel routing. So we may think why we need to resort to flood routing and what are the uses of flood routing. So flood routing, it is important because we need to size the capacity of reservoir, we need to size the capacity of spillway, okay, or any outlet structure. I mean, to design any outlet structure, we need to know the flow with the time. And it is also useful for flood protection works because suppose a river, it doesn't have any flood protection things, then but it is inundating lot of land and we need to provide a flood protection structures over there. So for that, first we have to we know the hydrograph at a section some kilometer upstream of where this flood is occurring, and at flood protection at the place it is flooding, we will plot hydrograph. Okay, so from that we can see what is the peak flow rate, and so to alleviate the flood, we have to decrease the peak. So for that, we have to do some construction things over there. Okay, we need to construct a small reservoir there, so or we need to construct side walls for that river, so that river goes within that channel, etc. So this flood routing is important for designing flood protection works and sizing of spillways and reservoirs. So now let's discuss reservoir routing. So you see this slide where a dam is shown here. Okay, so this is the inflow and the water is filled in this reservoir. So once water level goes over this crest of this dam, then water flows downstream side. Okay, so at the in, that is where the river joins this reservoir, that's called inlet. So inlet, the hydrograph is, we call it as inflow hydrograph. So that is shown with this blue curve. That is shown with this blue curve. So you can see that peak is quite high, and whereas the time base is quite low. So now that at the crest of the reservoir or immediate downstream of the reservoir, we draw a flood hydrograph, we plot flood hydrograph. So that is shown with this red color. So you can see that due to this constructing reservoir, the peak has come down, and not only that, the time base increased. So you see, you compare the inflow hydrograph and the outflow hydrograph. Okay, So in the first part, the blue line, it is over the red line. So that's where storage is taking place. Where in the downstream, later part of times, you can see that the red is above the blue, where the storage is depleting. So in the downstream plot, that is this red color, okay. So this shows the storage. This is the plot of storage. And you can see that as the storage increasing, that is ds by dt is increasing, okay, because here the x-axis is the time and y-axis is the storage. So ds by dt is greater than 0, and ds by dt will be 0 at this intersection where the inflow hydrograph meets outflow hydrograph. That point, maximum storage takes place. So once the maximum storage takes place, now because the inflow is decreasing, therefore the storage now turned as outflow and the storage depleting in the downstream. So that is ds by dt less than 0. So this is A, that is where the reservoir is filling. This is the C, where the reservoir is emptying. So when reservoir is filling, inflow greater than outflow, and when reservoir is emptying, inflow less than outflow. So this outflow discharge of a reservoir, that is some way that is function of the storage. Okay, let's discuss that. For a reservoir with horizontal water surface, its storage is a function of its water surface elevation. So the outflow discharge is a function of water surface elevation or head on the outlet works. So this is called as level pool routing. So in the clear terms, what is level pool routing? The reservoir water surface is horizontal and the outflow is a function of the storage, and the storage is also function of available head or depth of flow, depth of water in the reservoir. So since storage is function of head, and head is here, it is denoted by capital H, okay. So storage is function of the depth of the water in the reservoir, and discharge, that is outflow from the reservoir, is also function of the depth of water in the reservoir. So from these relationships, we can also express that storage is function of the outflow discharge. And as you see that ds by dt, continuity equation, that is ds by dt is equal I minus q, where S is the storage and I is the inflow and q is outflow. This is not a linear reservoir, okay. S is a function of outflow discharge, that is q, and this relation is an invariable relationship. That means for a given outflow discharge, there is only one S, there is only one storage. I mean the relationship is fixed. This is called as invariable function. Then the outflow discharge, that is also function of the depth of flow in the reservoir, and outflow discharge, for a given outflow discharge, there is only one water depth in the reservoir. So this relation is called invariable relationship or invariable function. So for level pool routing, the assumption is that the water surface is horizontal in the reservoir. So this is possible only when the length of reservoir is short but whereas width of reservoir and depth of reservoir are high. Suppose if it is a very long reservoir, that means length is quite high, then there may not be a invariable relationship between S and Q and H. So you can see that here inflow and outflow are plotted for a horizontal water surface reservoir, and you can see that in this the maximum outflow, this uh, outflow is intersecting the inflow, and the intersecting point is where the maximum outflow. Here R is shown as the storage and P is the outflow. So maximum storage coincident with maximum outflow. So for a given reservoir, we can, because due to different seasons, different years, always the inflow hydrograph will be different. And similarly, for that inflow hydrograph, outflow hydrograph, corresponding outflow hydrograph exists. So for different, I mean for multiple number of these inflow hydrographs and outflow hydrographs, the R and P, if plotted between Q and S, then the relation between Q and S is a single curve, and there is one maximum outflow and maximum storage, that is this terminal points of this curve, that is shown with R and P. So here you can see that for a given Q and S, there is only one R comma P. So this is called as invariable relation. But if it is a very long reservoir where the water surface is not flat, but it is a curve because of this backwater effect, then the relation is a variable relation, and that is shown in this these two plots. So you can see that here the maximum storage is different and maximum discharge is different. So for various inflow hydrographs and outflow hydrographs, if we plot the relation between Q and S, it is not a single curve, but whereas it is like a loop. Okay, so for a maximum discharge and maximum storage, so there are 2 points. This is R, it is a maximum storage, okay, because since it is a curve, the maximum point, maximum this storage, that is represented by R here, capital R here, and maximum discharge is occurring here, that is denoted by capital P. Okay, so the P and R are different. So you can see that the Q and S is not a one curve, but whereas it is a loop. So this is called as variable relationship. And you can see in this side figure, of course it is a small one, but you can see that this is a dam, and whereas this is a reservoir, and you can see that the water surface is not a straight line. So this kind of reservoirs, this variable relation exists between Q and S. So this look at this figure. This is the inflow curve, inflow hydrograph, and this is a outflow hydrograph. So what happened what happens in outflow hydrograph? The peak is attenuated and time base has increased. Overall, the center of gravity of these two curves are spaced by some distance. Okay, so here this is the center of gravity of this inflow, and for outflow this is the center of gravity. So the flood, because the center of gravity is the point that directly falls behind the peak, below the peak of this inflow hydrograph. Similarly, the center of gravity of outflow falls directly below the peak of outflow. So therefore, the time between these two center of gravities is called as time of flood movement. So this outflow hydrograph, because when we outflow hydrograph, it will be attenuating from inflow hydrograph, and at some point of downstream location it attains a constant shape, and the distance between the center of gravity of outflow hydrograph and inflow hydrograph, when that outflow hydrograph attains a constant shape, so that is called as time of redistribution. But after attaining this constant outflow hydrograph, this hydrograph also shifted downstream because of the distance between the long distance between the sections where inflow is measured and outflow hydrograph is measured. So since the distance is long, this outflow hydrograph, that is also translated. Okay, you can see that here it attains a constant flood hydrograph, outflow hydrograph, then it again shifted on the time axis in the downstream direction. So the distance between these two hydrographs, that is called as time of translation. So the time of flood movement, that is equal time of redistribution plus time of translation. Okay, so time of redistribution is the time between the inflow hydrograph attains a constant outflow hydrograph, and the time of translation is the constant outflow hydrograph, it further shifts downstream. Okay, so the time between, the two center of gravities, that is called time of translation, and time of flood movement is equal time of redistribution plus time of translation. So in the level pool routing, so this is a inflow hydrograph shown, and then the outflow hydrograph. Okay, so outflow hydrograph is the peak is attenuated and the time base has increased, and the storage of the water is plotted in the in the below figure. Okay, so storage here, since level pool routing, that represents the invariable relation between storage and outflow discharge, and storage and depth. So in the level pool routing, the maximum outflow that coincides with maximum storage. Okay, so in this figure, in the continuity equation, that is dH by dt is equal I minus Q So we can write it as, we can discretize at different times. So we can write it as Sj plus 1 minus Sj divided by delta t is equal I1 plus I2 by 2 minus Q1 plus Q2 by 2. Okay. So here the outflow by Qj, that is here, and the inflow, that is represented by Ij. So at time j, the storage is equal Ij minus Qj, that is given by Sj here. Then at j plus 1 time interval, time inflow is Ij plus 1 and outflow is Qj plus 1, and storage is J plus 1 Sj plus 1, that is equal Ij plus 1 minus Sj plus 1. And in between this j plus 1 and jth times, the storage are represented by Sj plus 1 minus Sj, that occurred in the delta t time. So here, during the accumulating the water in the reservoir, this is positive. Sj plus 1 minus Sj is positive here. But whereas in the depleting reservoir, during depleting reservoir, Sj plus 1 minus Sj is negative here. So in level pool routing, let us derive the governing equation. I mean the equation which we are using to calculate the outflow hydrograph. We derive that equation. So the basis equation is the continuity equation, that is ds by dt is equal it minus qt. So the time are broken into and integration of, when we integrate the continuity equation between j plus 1 time and j time, that is shown here. ds integrated between sj plus 1, that is equal to integration of it dt from j delta to j plus 1 delta t minus integration of qt dt from j delta t to j plus 1 delta t. Write it as an algebraic equation. Okay, we will discretize this and we write in an algebraic format. Then Sj plus 1 minus Sj is equal Ij plus Ij plus 1 by 2 delta t minus Qj plus Qj plus 1 by 2 delta t. Now we rearrange the terms. Then we'll write 2Sj plus 1 by delta t plus Qj plus 1 is equal Ij plus Ij plus 1 plus 2Sj by delta t minus Qj. So this is the final equation used to calculate outflow hydrograph in level pool routing. So in this equation, left hand side is unknown, but whereas right hand side is known, because we have been given inflow hydrograph. So at every time instant in that time of inflow hydrograph, we know what are the inflows. So Ij known, Ij1 is known, and Sj, because this is because so this is at time j, that is at known time level. So 2Sj is known. Then Qj, that is outflow, is also known at jth time, that is a known time, because j plus 1 is unknown time level. So there storage and outflow discharge are unknown. So this left hand side is unknown. Here this delta t, so delta t is taken as the interval of inflow hydrograph. Okay, time intervals given in inflow hydrograph is taken as delta t. So this you see this equation, left hand side is unknown, but there are two unknowns. So this is only one equation, but two unknowns. So we need another equation. So that equation we get it from invariable relation between storage and outflow discharge. So that we need an additional function between 2s by delta plus q and q. So once we know the relation between these two, then because this in the above equation, this left hand side is computed using from right hand side as a whole, but we don't know qj plus 1. Since we know the relation between 2s by delta plus q versus q, since 2s by delta, we can calculate q. Okay, so this relation is called as storage outflow function. So the storage outflow function is developed using elevation storage and elevation outflow relation that I will explain in the next slide. Okay, so 2s in this above equation, 2s j plus 1 by delta t plus qj plus 1, this is computed from this equation, but qj plus 1 is unknown. So qj plus 1 is obtained using this storage outflow function. So once qj plus 1 is known, then for next time level, this right hand side second term, that is computed as 2s j plus 1 by delta t minus qj plus 1 is equal 2s j plus 1 by delta t plus qj plus 1 minus 2qj plus 1. Okay, once we know this, that becomes the second term in this equation for next time interval. Then we'll this entire, that is 2s j plus 2 by delta t plus qj plus 2 will be obtained, and qj plus 2 obtained from this storage outflow function. Then this procedure continues in time until the maximum time in inflow hydrograph. This is the method to determine storage outflow function, because this A function, this A plot, that is storage versus water depth in the reservoir, that is known. Then we also know the outflow discharge versus depth of the water in the reservoir. How we know this relation, that is B, because that is given by the this spillway equations. Suppose it is a uncontrolled then discharge over this spillway is given by Q is equal CL H 3 power 2. So where H is known, L is the length of the crest, C is a constant of discharge. Okay, so C is calculated by hydraulic model in laboratory. So C is known and L is known, H is known, then Q is calculated. Suppose it is a gated Ogi spillway, then we'll use this formula. Q is equal to 2 by 3 to 2G CL H1 power 3 by 2 minus H2 power 3 by 2, where H1 is a total head, and then H2, that is at the total head at the bottom of this gate. From the crest. Okay. So then other two types, that is morning glory spillway. So for this, Q is C naught 2 pi Rs into H power 3 by 2. Okay. So by knowing radius of the this morning glory spillway, it is used in kind of earthen dams. Okay, so where there is a kind of a pipe inside the reservoir, and that pipe is through tunnel, that water is brought down to the downstream of the dam. You can search in Google There are few reservoirs in this world which have this morning glory spillways. Okay, so for glory spillway, this is the equation. So what does these all figures, I mean, represent? There is a relationship between outflow and the water depth in the reservoir. So using using these relations, we can get this plot between Q and H. Okay, now these two plots are known. Now we have to develop a plot between outflow versus 2S by delta T plus Q. Okay, so we know the Q value from this plot, and we know the S value for given Q value, and H value. Okay, so for given H value we know the Q value, and for given H value we know the S value. So from this we'll calculate 2S by delta T plus Q, and we'll plot a curve. We'll fit a curve between Q and 2S by delta T plus Q. So this is called as storage outflow relation. So for a given 2S by delta T plus Q, we know the Q value outflow. So these are the steps in reservoir routing. Okay, so there are only 5 steps. Okay, so first is, if not provided, we have to get a storage for corresponding depth. So we can get that relation by getting this Si plus 1 is equal Si plus A plus 1 A plus A by 2 into delta H, because area of the reservoir at different depths is known, because that is at that construction time itself. Using planimeter, the contours of the elevations are known. So each contour is a circle, so the area is known, and area of a contour, let us say right contour, that is AI, and area of I plus 1 contour, that is AI plus 1. Then the average area is given by this AI plus 1 plus AI by 2. The delta H is the contour interval. Okay, so that gives the, within that contour interval, what is the water storage, plus whatever the previous below that contour, what is the water already stored, that is given by SI. So this is total gives, that gives storage at I plus 1 contour. So next we have to plot storage outflow curve, that is 2S by delta T plus Q by Q. And once this plot is done, then we have to use continuity equation to get this 2Sj plus 1 by delta T plus Qj plus 1. So once this left hand side value, that is total value of left hand side, is calculated using continuity equation, then using this storage outflow relation, we have to get Q value. How we get that one? Let's write 2S by delta T plus Q, let us assume it as P. Then for a given P1 or Q1, this is known. For given P2, Q2 is known. Then by using linear interpolation, Q3 is obtained for a given P3 value. How we obtain? Q3 is equal Q2 plus dQ by dP into delta P. So that equation is written as Q3 is equal Q2 plus Q2 minus Q1 by P2 minus P1. This is nothing but slope of the storage curve, because when we are applying this continuity equation, we choose this delta T value as small as that the relation between this inflow and outflow linear. Okay, so when we have select delta T, the delta T should be small, so that the I1 and I2, the connecting between I1 and I2 is linear, and connecting point between Q1 and Q2 is linear. So using linear interpolation from this storage outflow curve, we'll get Q3 value. So once Q3 is known, I mean that is outflow at J+1 time is known, then for next time step we need to know this 2Sj minus 2Sj by delta T minus Qj. So that is obtained by 2Sj plus 1 by delta T plus Qj plus 1 minus 2Kj plus 1. So let's do one numerical example. Okay, this is a level pool routing. This is a question, okay, where it is a pond. The area is 1 acre and it has got vertical walls, and the outflow leaves this pond using this 5 feet diameter concrete pipe. Okay, so the inflow curve is given and we need to derive the outflow hydrograph. Okay, so here the elevation, the total depth of this pond, that is 10 feet. Okay, so we have taken intervals of 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, etc. Then storage, then from this pipe, outlet pipe, using the relation between Q and H, we get the discharge values for given this elevation. This is outflow. Then the storage, that is calculated. Okay, storage is calculated as, because at 0.5 depth, storage is equal 0.5 into area. Area is 1 acre. That 1 acre is equal to 43,560 square feet. So S is given as 0.5 into 43,560. That is 21,780. Similarly, at 1 foot depth, the storage is 43,560. At 1.5 feet depth, storage is 65,340. So the storage is calculated. Then elevation, this is, we have taken the intervals at 0.5 feet. Then the outflow discharge, that is, of course in this problem it is given, but it is also calculated from the relation between Q and H. So now we need to find 2S by delta T plus Q. So this is obtained as 2S by delta T plus Q. So for every row, S is known, okay, and Q is known, but the delta T, that is taken as 10 minutes, because that is delta T is taken from the inflow hydrograph. Okay, so inflow hydrograph, the time interval is given as every 10 minutes. So therefore delta T is taken as 10 minutes. 2S by delta T plus Q is calculated as 76 CFS for this 0.5 meter. Similarly, we can do for 1 meter, 1.5 meter, etc. For 1 meter, instead of, for 1 meter we have to do 2 into 43 1 feet, 2 into 43560 divided by delta T, that is same as 600 seconds, plus Q. Q is at 1 feet, Q is equal 8. So that comes out to be 153. So the relation, that storage outflow relation is shown in this plot. So where the 2S by delta T plus Q is taken on the x-axis and outflow discharge is taken on y-axis. So the relation is this. So this is the level pool routing calculations. Okay, so column 1, this is the time indices. These are every 10 minutes interval, and 2 the time. Then 3 the inflow hydrograph. This is given Okay. Then we need to find the outflow hydrograph. We need to calculate this column number 7 by given this 2 and 3. So how we will calculate? First, at 0th time, because at 0th time there is no outflow from the reservoir, because there is no water at 0th time. So therefore the outflow is 0 here. So the outflow is 0, the storage is also 0. So this 2s by j by delta t minus qj, that also becomes 0. Next, at time 10 minutes, the inflow is 60 CFS. So the I1 plus I2, that becomes 60, because we are using continuity equation. You see the continuity equation. So this is the continuity equation. To calculate this term, first we need to do ij plus 1 plus this 2j my delta t minus qj. Okay, we have to add up those two terms. So ij plus 1, that is equal to 60. Okay, so at 60, the previous time 2j by delta t minus qj, that is equal to 0. Then the left hand side 2sj plus 1 by delta t plus qj plus 1, that is calculated as 60 plus 0, that is 60 here. But for 60 of this storage outflow, we need to know the outflow. So this 2.4, we'll get it either from this curve, because 60 is here. So 2sj plus delta t, the 60, we need to calculate the outflow from this curve. Okay. So you see this is don't confuse here, the x-axis is in terms of 10 power 3. Okay. So somewhere the 60 comes here. So for that we have to calculate outflow, that comes on 2.4. But alternatively we can do linear interpolation. That interpolation is given here. Okay, because you see here, so P1, that is equal to 0, then outflow is 0. Then P3, that is 60.0. So P1 and P2 are 0, Q1 and Q2 are 0, whereas P3 is given as 60. Then we need to calculate the outflow Q. So by using linear interpolation, we can calculate that that as 2.4 cubic feet per second. So once this 2.4 is obtained, then we need to find this 2sj by delta t minus qj, that is obtained as this column 6 minus 2 times column 7, that is 60 minus 2 times 2.4, that comes 55.2. So next time, so 60 plus 120, that comes 180 here. So 180 plus this column number 5 at previous time, that is 55.2, that comes 235.2. So for this P, that is 2s by delta t plus q of 235.2, we need to calculate outflow. So that outflow, we are using this linear interpolation, or either using from this curve, we calculate outflow, that is given as 17.1 here. So once 17.1 is calculated, then we will calculate this column number 5, that is equal 6 minus 2 times 7, that means 235.2 minus 2 times 17.1, that comes 201.1. So similarly, then next time it is 300 is ij plus 1, and P at previous time, that is 201.1. So that together it comes to 501.1. Again for 501.1 P, we will get Q value, that comes on 61.1. Then similarly we will get this column number 5. So we have to do the calculations like this. And when we plot finally the inflow and outflow, these are the curves. So you can see that since the relationship is invariable, the maximum outflow discharge, so that is intersecting at the this recession limb of this inflow hydrograph. Okay, so it's already 12 o'clock, so I'll stop it here. And in the next class, tomorrow I'm giving you an exam. So in the next class, that is next Monday, we will do one this numerical example, whatever I explained it now, we will do it in an Excel sheet, and then we will calculate, then we will go to hydraulic channel routing. So there are 2-3 examples in hydraulic channel routing, and we will do them in Excel sheet. Okay, so this I will cover it on next Monday. But tomorrow, once I complete this hydrological routing, then I'll give you the tutorial 6. That is, I'll give it to you on next Monday. Tomorrow I'm giving you an exam. So already I emailed you that syllabus. Okay, that is flood hydrograph, unit hydrograph, and subsurface flow. So tomorrow the exam starts at 8 a.m. in the morning and then ends at 10 a.m.
Sir,
So
what is the duration of the test? Is it complete 2 hour?
it is complete 2 hours.
Okay.
It's complete 2 hours. See, I am giving some fill in the blanks and then MCD, multiple choice questions, MCQ. I'm also give some negative marking for some questions. Okay. Uh,
So,
okay.
sir, it will be mentioned like
I am not yet completely set the question paper, but you will have questions in between, like around you have questions around 30. So you will get 3 to around 3 to 4 minutes for each question. Some are some lengthy questions and some are small questions, but all of them are numericals.
so it would be sequential again.
Yeah, what do you mean by sequential?
Like, sir, we
Yes,
can
yes, yes, yes.
do
You cannot go back.
forward and
Okay.
oh,
You cannot go. You cannot go back. Okay. So, do you have any questions from today's lecture?
no, sir.
Okay. Anyway,
No,
this
sir.
example that I have explained, that we will do in Excel sheet in the next class. And also I'll teach channel routing using Muskingum method, and that those examples also we will do in a Excel sheet, so that it will be easy to understand. Okay. Thank you.